Okay, welcome everyone. Very good evening or good day to all of you, wherever you're joining us from. Very quickly, maybe you could share where you're joining from, the city where you're joining us from, and what's the climate like today? Maybe you can put it in the chat box.
Chandigarh humid.
What's the inner climate like?
Goa rainy, Coimbatore warm, Dubai eternally hot, Mumbai humid, super cool. Okay. Barcelona, Hyderabad, Pune pleasant. Inner climate is fine.
Keep it coming, guys. Cloudy, rainy, humid. What a mix we've got. Internal climate is full of anticipation. Vidya says in a climate pleasant too. Cool. I'm hoping most of you have shared your details, and welcome to this conversation on ICF Code of Ethics with Srikanth and Kumarasamy, MCC. And both of us would have a conversation for about 40-45 minutes, and then we will open up the space for questions or any real world cases or situations that you guys have brought in, and we'll take them up. One thing that I'd like to share is anyone who wants to take the ICF pledge should stay until the end of the session. So do stay until the end. And as far as possible, please keep your videos on so that we're able to see you and we're able to kind of interact with you. Yeah, so whoever can keep it on. If y'all don't have a network bandwidth issue, please keep it on. Right? Okay. So we've been talking about the ICF Code of Ethics, Srikanth and I, and it's a cornerstone for building a successful coaching career and a business. However, what I've noticed is that not much of emphasis is placed on this during coach training, apart from asking the participant to just go through the Code of Ethics and ask if they have any questions. Over time, I learned that this is the foundation of our profession and it lies in ethics. Specifically, I really love the way how Srikanth demonstrates that, the ethics is like the foundation and everything else in terms of the core competencies are, kind of demonstrated in a pictorial format, which are like below the ethics. So it's like the foundation, the bedrock. So when I reached out to him last month about hosting him for a conversation, he said that let's do, a conversation around ICF Code of Ethics. So Srikanth, share with us what are you noticing and the reason for us to have this conversation.
Okay. See, Sunita, you know, and I think most of the coaches know that I'm quite active on LinkedIn, and I keep posting my own experience about coaching clients and all of that. Maybe the last 3 or 4 months, I have noticed at least one person reaching out to me from the coaches community with a concern of some violation around ethics. So I'll just give you a few examples. So this young girl who reached out to me about 4 months ago. She sent a message, said, I'm 23 years old. I borrowed money from my parents. I invested about 3 lakh rupees, blah, blah, blah. Still the training is going on. I have not learned anything. I want your help. So I said, yeah, just reach out to me, give me a call. So what I got to know is that they collected the money. They have issued some servant certificates or whatever of no use. And this person is going all over the place. So this is one incident. And the other incident is people reach out to me saying that I've been orphaned by my training school. My mentor doesn't respond to me and things like that. And very recently, I had somebody reaching out to me and said that I paid for my mentoring, but I've sent so many messages, but the mentor is not responding to me. Okay. The recent incident, this happened like some 3-4 days ago. There's somebody who had reached out to me on LinkedIn about 4 months ago or something like sometime in April. They wanted to explore the level 1 training with me. Normally, what I do is whatever training programs, mentoring programs that I do, I allow people to come and experience sitting through a session. If it's a level 1 program, because I do 15 weeks, I ask them to come and sit through like 2 weeks. It's a mentoring program. I said, come and sit at this one. And I say, it's very difficult for me to explain what happens in a session. Yeah, it's like you have to go to a movie, sit through the entire movie, and then experience. You cannot explain. It's an experience that you need to experience, right? So, and then you can take an informed decision. So that's what I do. So, do everybody who come into my session sign up with me? No, they also go and sign up with somebody else. So we had an incident where somebody really wanted to work with me, but said that, see, I have gone to another training institute, and they are giving us a huge discount because some 3 or 4 of us are going, and the price difference is too high. I cannot at this moment now. I don't want to go with you, I'll go with that person. But when it comes to PCC, I'll come to you. I said, okay. I said, wish you good luck and stay in touch with me, and any help that you need, let me know. And I also said that, having said that, I know that you don't want to continue the level 1 with me. It's perfectly fine. I run a coaches community, about 250 plus coaches, train credential. If you want to become a part of it, and if you see there's a merit in joining, just be a part of it and all of that. So this person joined. And then I think towards the end of the ACC training, the person reached out to me and said, I've decided to pursue PCC with you. I said, PCC with me is I don't do level 2, I only do mentoring. So I will provide all the information, then you can take a decision. Got her to come and attend one session, and then the person was convinced and decided to pay the full money up front. Normally I give installment. This person said, no, I can afford to pay the entire thing and join. Last Saturday, I got a call, and I was in a session. I couldn't take the call. When I got a message saying it's very urgent. I need to talk to you. I said, sure. I called, and I could feel the frustration, anger, and whatever you want to call it. The person, something bad happened. I said, what happened? My ACC training is coming to an end, and the 10 hours of mentoring, my mentor says that because you're already signed up with somebody else for PCC training, you go get your mentoring done from that person, or you take a refund from that person and come and do the PCC training with me, right? It's a clear violation, because when this person paid the money, this person paid the money for a level 1 program, which means this academy has to give 60 hours of minimum coaching education. They have to provide 10 hours of minimum mentoring, and they have to make sure that they do the performance evaluation. Now, telling this person, for mentoring, we only took this much money, we are going to refund it, go and sort out your mentoring with somebody else, is completely unethical, because the implications are very, it's going to be bad, financially bad, right? And to give force somebody saying that you take the refund from the other training provider, come and invest with us, then only you can continue, then we will continue the ACC mentoring, is complete violation, right? So these are a few examples that I'm saying. And there was another incident where somebody reached out to me from the coaches circle, I can't take names, and reached out to their training provider to get a certificate for 3-4 months, didn't happen, all of that. And then I tell, hey, there is a way that you can escalate to ICF. And if there are more people who are kind of impacted by it, you should do it like that. Yeah, so these are some examples. Of course, we can talk about more. I'm sure there are people who are experienced and we can ask questions. And I also noticed this in peer coaching. I'm sure people will have some cases. We'll talk about it. Yeah. So I felt, you're right, I felt most of the coaching institute talk about coaching approaches like neuroscience and ontology and this and that and all of that. I also noticed that they don't pay too much of attention to the source of the ICF core competencies, right? I'm not hearing that. Every time that I'm hearing somebody coming to me is that, how do I make sure that I meet the PCC markers? I mean, it's all, they want to do things at the surface level and nobody talks about ICF Code of Ethics. If you go to the ICF website, when I have time, I'll just show it to you. If you compare the resources available on ICF Code of Ethics against the ICF core competency, I can show it to you. You would at least see about 5 times more resources related to ICF Code of Ethics than core competency. That essentially means the ICF is very, very serious about ethics, right? And your ICF exam, right? Somebody asked me, how do you pass the exam? I said, there are only 2 things that you got to know: ICF Code of Ethics and ICF core competence. If you can read it, because you need to answer best scenario, worst scenario. I said, you read the scenario. Best answer will be quite evident because it's based on competency. The worst answer is based on ethics. If you don't know, you have not understood ethics, you won't be able to answer that. Right?
Right.
Yeah. So ICF doesn't say that, but you have to actually sit through the exam and figure that out. You know, Sunita, there's somebody, I mean, we are not going to take names. There's one person who was in the exam who had failed the exam twice and could not get the ACC, came and learned the preparation. You know how much time that we spent on ICF Code of Ethics.
Yes.
Yesterday or today morning, the person sent a message saying that scored very high and cleared the exam. So that's what I mean. Yeah.
I mean, that's true. So much is happening around us, and even as we speak about this, I think our intention is to raise a little bit of awareness for the people who are associated with us, and not just in the coaches circle, but outside of the circle as well. So thanks so much for this conversation and bringing about and sharing of what you're noticing happening around you over the last couple of months. So yes, while there is a lot of information on the ICF Code of Ethics on the ICF website, how do you think the ICF Code of Ethics align with the core competencies of coaching?
See, maybe I'll show the slide sometime later, right? If you really study the core competence, right? There are 8 competencies, okay? Now, when you send a recording, what do they evaluate the recording based on? They evaluate your recording based only on 6 competencies, right? Because that is what an assessor can actually see in your coaching conversation. There are 2 competencies, you can't see it in a recording conversation, right? When I say you can't see it, because you're not even, the assessor is not even seeing a video, the person is listening to a conversation going through the script, right?
Yeah.
Now, there are behaviors that are demonstrated outside a coaching conversation, right? One is, of course, embodying the coaching mindset, which some of the behaviors can be spotted in a coaching conversation. And the larger thing is demonstrating ethical practice. Demonstrating ethical practice cannot be observed in a coaching conversation, right? And I call it the umbrella competency, right? That's the umbrella competency under which everything happens. So your ICF demonstrating ethical practices, it is not only for coaches, it is also for people. So if you are running a coaching organization, everybody who is working in the coaching organization have to demonstrate ethical practices, right? If you look at the sub-competencies, there may be about 7 or 8. on the demonstrating ethical practice. But all of them are tied to the ICF Code of Ethics. We'll talk about the pillars. So there are 4 primary pillars for Code of Ethics. One is the responsibility to the clients. The other one is responsibility towards your practice and performance. And the third one is responsibility towards your profession. And the last one is to the response to the society, right? So if you just look at them in isolation, you may not be able to see the connection, but you have to look at it from a very 30,000 feet view. That is your demonstrating ethical practice. They are on top, and then it's an umbrella competence. Everything is there. So what is ethics? Ethics is basically rules by which you are going to do whatever that you decide to do, right? Just take a situation, take any sport. You may be a very good sports person, you may have very good technical skills, and if they're not able to follow the rules of the game, they're out. It's as simple as that, right? So they're not disconnected. It's just that we don't see it.
True. We don't see it. But then how can coaches ensure they're continuously aligned with the ethical standards throughout their practice?
Keep themselves updated on ethics all the time, right? I would say do a deep dive on ethics. The way that they do a deep dive on core competencies, they have to do a deep dive on ethics, right? So if you have the time, we can go through the slides very quickly. So if you look at the 4 pillars that I spoke about, the first pillar, responsibility towards the clients, that has got 13 standards. You call it the standards. Under that, what are certain things that you should adhere to? Very clearly given, right? And then after the 13 standards, responsibility to your practice and profession, there are 6 standards. And then after that, responsibility to your profession, there are 5. Responsibility to your society, there are all put together about 28 stages. They have to go through each statement and understand what it really means. Right? I don't remember all the standards by heart, but I know the essence of it. I may not even know, okay, which standard is under which responsibility, but I pretty much know because I keep going again and again. There's a lot of case studies available on the website. So I go and study them. And every time somebody comes to me with a question, I will say, what is the violation? For example, you know that we have this large coaches circle. Peer coaching happens. Yeah. There was somebody who was being very unprofessional, right? So what is peer coaching? What does peer coaching mean? You reach out to somebody, that person coaches you for X amount of time, and you have to get coached for the same amount of time, right? You finish coaching, and then when the other person wants to coach, you don't cooperate, right? You be judgmental. You say, okay, now I need to go for a walk. Please coach. You can coach me while I'm walking. I want to see how you can coach. All of that is not professional, right? I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to be on the treadmill. Coach me. Yeah, these are certain things that we have kept hearing, and because these complaints kept coming to me often, I had to pull up a coach. So this person, when this person was going through the ACC journey, joined the coaches circle, got peer coaching done through the circle, then left, went and did the PCC training somewhere else, came back and got peer coaching. Only through peer coaching, I'm sure the person got the PCC also. Now the person is hoping to get MCC through peer coaching. I don't know how this is going to work, right? Now the person has forgotten that there was a time that this person was not an ACC, and when ACC people who are in the ACC journey into peer coaching, degrading them. Hey, how did Shrikant allow you to come part of this circle? Right? They forgot that there was some point in time they were also like that only, right? Things like that. And when I pulled that person up, the person abused me and all of that happened. But after that, a lot of complaints came, right? So there are a lot of things that this is also unprofessional. So this is total violation of ethics. In case somebody asks me what is that I can do, I said, if you feel that this is not something as acceptable to you, there is a process called the ECR process. Right to ICF, they will investigate and take action. So you asked what action will they take? Depends on the severity of the action, right? Sometimes they may say, okay, you need to do a course or upgrade your skills or whatever. Sometimes they may just even ban your credential or whatever. Actions can be very simple. So it's very serious, Sunila.
It is serious, and it's an umbrella competency.
Yeah.
And I love how you shared that we have to remind ourselves constantly,
Absolutely.
periodically, and get the
Yeah.
essence of all the standards, which is what is very important, rather than um, just by hearting. I think that's not the key. The key is that we get the essence and follow the ethics in our practice, in our work. But talking about the peer coaching that you just shared some instances and some situations, what are some of the best practices when coaches undertake peer coaching, in your view?
See, one of the first and foremost thing about peer coaching that I would suggest or recommend or whatever is that they have to treat peer coaching as coaching somebody who has paid them for that coaching, right? So if I'm a coach and if I'm coaching another coach, I have to consider this person has paid me to coach. And that kind of seriousness has to be there. It is not about, I will just show up and do some vibes and then put that minutes or hours and log my thing. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay. If I do that, then I'm doing total injustice to that person who is coming there because they may have something very serious to talk about. I'm not serious about it, right? And you already always have to put yourself in the client's shoes and see, hey, if my peer coach behaves the way that I'm behaving, how will I feel, right? Okay, so that is important. And when you do a peer coaching, just the way that you do a real client, agree for an engagement, maybe for about 6 sessions, right? 6 sessions over a period of whatever, it could be 6 weeks or 12 weeks or whatever, and just show up and be authentic as a coach when you're coaching, be authentic as a client when you're being a client, right? So this is what is happening, right? So I coach and I coach for 45 minutes or whatever, and when it is your turn, I don't give you that 45 minutes. Okay. So it has to be the barter has to be equal. And only then it is considered as peer coaching. What is happening when I'm coaching, you're not paying me, right? So instead of paying me, you're going to coach me. So you've done a trade-off through your service. So if I coach you and I don't allow you to coach me, then it is not considered as paid coaching. A lot of coaches think that they can put it as paid coaching. No, ethically it is wrong. It is pro bono. You just offered free coaching. That's it. Because the other person did not coach you. It's the exchange is not complete.
True.
Exchange is not complete. Yeah. So the best practice is show up as an authentic coach. Best practice is to show up as an authentic client and honor the commitment. Exact amount of time. And this is what I normally recommend. As much as possible, avoid doing back-to-back coaching if you are doing coaching with somebody. And I also feel another best practice is that if people can form groups, maybe about 3 people or 4 people or like that, let's assume that there are 3 people, A, B, and C. A coaches B, and B doesn't coach A. B coaches C, and C coaches A, like that, right? Then do that for about whatever 6 sessions, and then switch roles. Yeah, and don't and avoid going on a spree of coaching so many people. You can't see you if you just do 1 hour of coaching or 1 session or 2 sessions. What is the value that other person is going to get? I think look at it like a long-term engagement, and these are some things that I would recommend as best practices.
Thank you, Shrikant. I'm also learning the importance of expectation setting earlier on when the peer coaching agreement is made, because it kind of keeps both the parties on track, like you said. Yeah. Thank you
And
so
also,
much.
one more point is that when you put a request, let that first request be some kind of a discovery call. When some client comes to you, you're not going to coach the client in the first instance, right? You're going to do a discovery call, find out whether this is a fitment. Follow the same process. The way that you will take a client through that entire coaching engagement, put that same principles, use the same rules.
Yeah, I love this idea.
Just because there is no money involved, what makes you believe that it can be different? It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Sure. And I think we have to respect and honor that. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
Consider
so
the
Nidhi
peer
is,
coach as a client.
Nidhi is there, so I'm just going to call Nidhi and talk about that.
Sure.
And I don't know, Sunita, whether you know Nidhi. Nidhi and Amrita work together. In their system, when I say their system, under the transformation coaching, they have peer coaching, right? So A coaches B, and B doesn't coach A. Somebody else coaches B, right?
Yeah.
And 4 sessions, 1 hour each, very well, agreed, documented, feedback, all of that is done, right? But there's somebody who is taking ownership and driving that peer coaching thing.
Yes.
But we don't have the luxury of somebody taking it. But somebody doesn't have to drive. No, you can drive. It's your career. You can drive. It's your need. You can do.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, and similar to what you shared about the peer coaching, I believe ICF also has a reciprocal peer coaching program that one could explore.
Yeah. So ICF has got a peer coaching program. I maybe towards the end I can take you through the website. They have partnered with another organization called Reciproc Coach. Reciproc Coach caters to all kinds of organizations like EMCC and whatever. So they have tied up, ICF has tied up. So you can do peer coaching, right? It's a very nominal fee, I think $60 or something like that. They have the same arrangement, right? So you are assigned a client, and then you will be you will have a coach. So you agree, whatever, in 3 months you need to do 6 sessions, or 4 months you need to do 6 sessions. There's a proper feedback mechanism and all of that. Of course, the paid service, nominal, they run it like that. We can take responsibility and do it ourselves, same thing. So why is that somebody has to put rules and ask you to follow those rules? Why can't we put our role? Why can't we self-regulate ourselves as coaches? Follow the ethics. Yeah.
Follow the ethics. And so while we talk about this, have there been any recent changes to the ICF Code of Ethics, and how should coaches stay informed about changes from time to time?
Right. See, if you're an ICF Global member, if there's an important change, you'll get a notification, right? You'll get an email. One of the changes that I noticed, I don't know when they brought the change. At least when I did the PCC, I may be wrong, I may be right, but I just want to. I'm thinking they made a change after I got my PCC. Earlier they used to say that, let's say you're a trained therapist, and you also get credential as a coach, and you have a client who comes to you, and then you feel there's a need for therapy, you can't do therapy for them, right? Earlier, that's what the thing. Now, what are they saying? The same client, right? If you are qualified to do therapy and you are also qualified to coach, the same client, you can do therapy, you can also do coaching, but not in the same session. It has to be two different sessions, two different contracts.
Two different contracts as well.
Yeah, two different contracts. So it's not that therapy has to get over and the coaching has to start. No, it can happen simultaneously. So that is the change that I think they brought. So this is what somebody wanted to reach out to me and say that I'm a PCC already. I'm thinking whether I should do MCC, I should do EMCC. I said, what is the need for EMCC? The person said, no, in ICF, we can't mentor, right? I said, who said you can't mentor? Said, no, very clear. No, that means you have not understood the ethics properly. Because EMC stands for European Mentoring and Coaching Council. So they treat mentoring and coaching the same way. That's the way that I have understood. At least that's the way that person explained to me. I said, no, you can still mentor a person. Same person. You can have two separate contracts running parallelly. And your mentoring sessions and your coaching sessions can be intertwined. You can do a coaching session this week, mentoring session next week, blah, 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 all of that. But you can't mentor somebody and give them the feeling it is coaching. That is unethical. That is unethical.
So let's say someone comes across this unethical practices being observed, whether it's a peer coach or whether it's a coach training institute or whatever they're noticing happening with another peer coach. How should coaches approach when they observe such unethical behavior in other coaches or even for that matter, coach training institutions?
One is they should report to the institute saying that what you are doing is incorrect, and give them a chance to correct themselves, obviously, and give them one chance, maybe a couple of chances. I have a policy called the 3-strike policy. I just give 3 chances, and if I don't get an answer in those 3 attempts, then I go to the next level, right? So if you're not getting a positive response, when I say positive, they have to respond to you, right? If they don't respond, ICF has got a process called the ECR process. There's a huge, I'll just show the website to you. It's huge. You just can write to them, they have to fill a form and all of that, provide evidence, and then they will take action. They will take action to the extent I told you. They can remove your credentials and tell you for 5 years you cannot apply for any credentials. It could happen, or they can even ban you for life.
There is an opportunity for coaches to approach such situations. And I'm also hearing that one has to be fair before directly taking it to ICF. Yeah.
Sometimes, sometimes we are all human beings. We also can make mistakes without knowing, unconsciously, without knowing the implications. So we have to bring it to their awareness.
Yeah.
After getting into their awareness, also if they are adamant, then tough luck for them. What can you do?
Yeah, like in the earlier example, you were saying that they were not responding. The coach training institute were not responding to this participant of the coach training. So in that case, maybe the participant doesn't have an option but to resort to the ECR process.
Yeah. In fact, that's what I told. I'll tell you the exact incident, what happened with this from the coaches circle. This person reached out to me for ACC mentoring. And I said, hey, I just want to be very clear on what is the path that you took for your ACC training, because if you've already invested money in a program where ACC mentoring is built, then you are unnecessarily wasting money. I just want to be sure. So this person said, I don't know what is the path I took. I said, what do you mean? No, this person reached out to me and said, pay this amount of money and blah, blah, right? So I said, some email, some brochure, something must be there. No, you send it to me. I look at it and tell you what is the path you took. This person said, I don't have anything. I just got a call, and then the person said, pay this much of money, and I will take you through the program. Okay. Now, after knowing who the training provider is, I went to the website and checked. Very clearly, they say level 1 program, level 2 program. So ideally, they should give I told this person, it's a level 1 program, your 60 hours of minimum education or 10 hours of mentoring, performance, everything is built. This person is writing, no response. Then because there are no response, this person reached out to the trainer, is a PCC coach, right? The person who runs the organization, owns the organization, not a credentialed coach, it's a business person, right? Or a salesperson, whatever you want to call it. And then this person reached out to the mentor. The mentor said, hey, do one thing, speak to Srikanth and tell him to give you a certificate of completing 60 hours. Pay him whatever money that he is asking. I will do the mentoring. I said, no, I will not do anything like that. I would say, get your mentor on call and I'll tell you what needs to be done. So after 15 minutes, the mentor was overseas coming on the call. I told the mentor, look, as a person who did the training, you can, in your personal capacity as a PCC coach, you can issue a letter to ICF saying that so and so person has gone through the 60 hours of training. These are the modules, blah, blah, blah. And you can also mentor the person. This person can apply through the portfolio path. You can't give a certificate because it's not your program. Okay. He said, hey, I'm aware of that. You think I can do it? I said, absolutely, you can do it. Do it. So then I said, while you can still do it, you should still escalate this to ICF, saying that you are being not served to the promise. So I said the only way that you can get the person to respond to you is that write to the person saying that if the person does not respond to you within this number of days, you're given so many chances, you will escalate it to ICF through the easier process. And within 1 week, the person got the certificate. But the person did not get the level 1 certificate. The person got the ACSG certificate, which means for mentoring, the person has to pay separately. And the application fee for ACC through the ACC path is much more than what the person would have paid for the level 1. And it's going to take a longer time. So these are all implications. And see, this is what I keep telling people when you sign up for a program, please understand, do your research, collect information. It's your hard-earned money. Do it. Don't just somebody selling you something. Don't get trapped. And that's the reason, Sunita, when somebody comes to me for any program, I provide all the information. I take them to the website, give everything. I said, go through all the information. When you're completely convinced that I am the person that you should work with, then we will talk about money. Till then, we will not talk about money. I said, I'm not interested in the money.
Yeah, I think that's where the foundation of your business lies. You are always people first, and money will follow. Yeah, and I truly admire that. So when it comes to um, personal values, how do you differentiate? Like, when I see you, I always see this. So how do you differentiate between ethical guidelines and personal values while making coaching decisions?
It's very simple, Sunita. See, it's like working for any organization, right? You work for an organization has got a culture, they've got their own values, blah, blah. So you have personal values, your organization values has got some organization values. Till the time your values are in alignment with the organization values, or the organization's values are in alignment with you, you continue to be part of the organization. The day that you see an incongruence, you get out. Today, I look at the ICF ethical guidelines, very simple. It's not tough. It's not tough to follow. They say you do this, you don't do this. That's it. See, they are not putting you in a box. They're doing it because they want to protect you. Right? They're saying, avoid doing a coaching engagement without a contract. Make sure this is in place, confidentiality clauses in place, your refund policy in place, all that. Because they want to protect you and also they want to protect the client. Right?
Right.
Just like any business organization, they have their own ethical guidelines. It is not very different.
Yeah, makes sense. It's not very different. And on that note, like there is this aspect of confidentiality, right? So when you're talking about organization values and all of that, this thing came up that how should a coach manage confidentiality when when they're coaching within an organization and maybe the sponsor is asking them for feedback on the client's progress.
Great question. I actually was waiting for this question to come because this is a question that I get asked in my cohorts, right? I'm very clear on this, right? So, if I decide to work with an organization, the first thing that organization, sponsor, whoever, when they have a conversation with me, I will make it very clear saying that whatever goals and objectives that you want the particular leader to achieve in this engagement, you and the leader needs to be on the same page. Okay, you both of you have to be on the same page. That means when the leader comes to me, I want to be sure that what you have told me, what the leader is telling me is same. There's no difference. Okay, so we will agree on the goals at a larger level, at a top level, right? Top 3 level goals, right? The sub goals can change. That's okay, right? Maybe the sponsor doesn't have view to it because the person is not on the ground doing the work, but the person leader is the one who's on the ground. But the sub goals have to finally dovetail into the larger goals that has been set by the sponsor. Now, in the contract, I very clearly say that I'm not going to share any information. Don't ask any reports from me. I give a template for a scorecard and I give it to the leader, client, whoever, and I say every conversation you finish, actions, whatever, your awareness, all of that, you capture it, right? So the coaching conversation over, today the coaching conversation over, before we meet for the next coaching conversation, we will have a check-in. In the check-in, you come and we will review the progress. So you will drive the conversation, right? You will use the same scorecard to have your one-on-one conversation with your sponsor or manager or whoever, right? So you can do it once in 2 weeks, once in a month, it's your deal. But when I review, when they call me for a review, I tell the sponsor, this is what I expect, especially upfront. I tell the leader who is being coached, that person will drive these review discussions. So that way I don't have to reveal anything. I will be there as an observer and I will give whatever, my observations, whatever. This person will share information. If this person decides, the client decides to share confidential information, what is my problem? No problem. I'm very clear. I'm very, very clear. And that is one of the reasons I don't work with corporates.
There are many of us who do. and to me, whatever you shared is like a best practice that one could follow.
So I'm very choosy. When I say I don't work with corporates, I mean, I can just count it in my one hand at any given point. Yeah, I want to stay away from all this politics and all of that nonsense. And that's the primary reason I got out of the corporate world. Why should I get into it again?
Yeah. Yeah, Goli is saying this is usually very clearly established in the tripartite session with sponsor and coaches present. Yet, there could be cases where the managers are asking for information. And I think it's a best practice to put the ball back in the coaches.
I will tell, hey, manager,
space.
please, is your report, go take information from them.
Whatever they are willing to disclose, it's up to them. Yeah. Okay. So, there's also coaching supervision, right,
So I
Shrikant?
was asking, how about a coach, how about coaching a team when the sponsor is a parent? I don't have an answer. maybe Goldie can answer that. Let's finish this. Maybe Goldie, you work with teams. She'll be able to answer that. Let's give it some time. We'll finish this discussion when, yeah, go ahead.
Sure. So there is this aspect of coaching supervision as well, right, Shrikant? And it's something that uh, I've noticed really helpful for me. So, what is the role of supervision in maintaining ethical standards in coaching?
The same role as the mentor, maintaining. See, whether you're a coach, whether you're a coaching mentor coach, whether you are a coach supervisor, ethical standards are the same. Whether you are an ACC, PCC, or MCC, the ethical standards are the same. There's no difference. See?
The umbrella competency.
Yeah, the umbrella competency, absolutely.
Yeah, sure. So, let's say, there is a, situation where the coach is in, where the client asks for advice, and it might conflict with the coach's ethical obligations. Then what should the coach do?
Don't give advice. Very clearly, say to them, no advice. When the client may ask for suggestion, though ICF says that you can suggest, stay away from giving suggestions. I would, when the client is asking for suggestion, I would ask, how will my suggestions help you, or what makes my suggestion important for you? Get them to think, right? With a very hard bent, I just want to share my experience in my context, right? Your experience, your context will be very different. This is my experience. Put it as information and allow them to infer something, whatever insights, and if they want to do it, let them do it.
There might be times where the coach is getting an insight based on their intuition or something. So is it okay for them to seek permission and share?
Yeah. So, for example, your intuition, you are getting a sense, own that, it's yours, right? And yesterday I had a conversation with somebody and I shared the link in the Coach Circle. And I noticed similarities, two relationship, very similar behaviors. After the client shared this with me, I just said, hey, while you're sharing this with me, I noticed a similarity. I'm just going to play it back to you and see what is coming up for you. And I just played it. And the client went like that. And it's a very powerful observation. I never thought about it. And towards the end of the conversation, the person said, if I had to do this exercise in my own reflections, I don't think I would have done it ever. Maybe, I don't know, 10 years it would have taken. Right? So you can share observations, but the insights have to come from the client. It can't be your insights. Your insights are useful for your clients. Sorry, I'm saying your insights are
useful for, yeah.
Your insights are useless for the clients. Your observations may be useful for the clients.
Useful,
sorry.
yeah.
I stand corrected, yeah.
That's great point, because in my experience, I've noticed some of the peer coaches share their insights. What is coming up, and it may not really work well. But yeah, I think it's important to share observations of what you're noticing.
One more thing sorry, I interrupted you because this happened very recently. There are coaches who have an habit, right?
Yeah.
When the coaching conversation is going on, they want to share a lot of advice. Okay, but ethically you can't share advice during the coaching. They hold on to everything. When the moment the conversation is over, next 45 minutes advice. Hello. As a coach, the client is the same client whether you are in a coaching conversation or outside a coaching conversation. No advice means no advice. Ethical violation, whether it is peer coaching or paid coaching, violation. I'm sure some of you in this call are absolutely going to relate to it. Okay, so I think we have up on the time.
Yeah.
Ruxana had asked a question. I'm going to allow.
Yeah.
I'm going to put Goldie on the spotlight. She's an expert in this field. I'm a novice, or I'm completely no knowledge. Goldie, the question was, when you're working with a teenage kid, the parent, the
Sponsor is a
sponsor,
parent.
how does the relationship work? Yeah.
It's very easy. It's basically the same as it would be with a corporate, but you have to visualize the sponsor being the parent. You have to make sure that the teenager is essentially under 18, because in a lot of countries, 18 and 21, you have to make sure what country you're working with. Okay, so adult can mean 18 in one and 21 in another. Usually 18 is the law, okay? What happens is you have to make sure that the parent is having a discovery call with the child present, and you have to establish the agreement there and then. So things like, I will give you feedback as a parent after the session, provided there is something important that comes up. If there is a red flag, I will notify your parents. If everything is according to the way the session has to be, you will not receive any feedback. So you have to be transparent with the parent from day one. As far as the agreement goes, you have to make sure both parties sign it. Why? Because the teenager in this case is underage. I've had a situation many times where the parent just says, I want you to coach my child. It's very important to ask, how old is your child? And they will sometimes say, oh, he's 19. Okay, so he's an adult. But they're still their sponsor. In that case, you don't have to have the contract signed by the parent because he is an adult or she. Okay, so very specifically ask the age every time you have, because a lot of parents call their children at the age of 25, you know? So that's the kind of way you work with contracting. And it's really good to have a tripartite halfway and at the end as well, with the sponsor present, in this case, the parent. They appreciate it a lot because they are on the ball. And at the end of the day, teenager coaching is very systemic. So the parties at home are involved in the coaching process of the child, teenager, young adult, whoever is, you know, being sponsored. So that's my 2 cents on teenage.
So Devika, before I come to you, very quickly, I'm going to just take 5 minutes and show you the websites, and then we can get back to the questions. Yeah, just give it. Right, so we have, yeah, so this is your ICF Code of Ethics website, and then you have the ethical conduct review process. This is the process that I spoke about, the ECR process. Then you have the accreditation complaint process, meaning you're not being given the due respect for whatever by the institute, how you can go about. See, there's a lot of information, yeah. And then this is your insights and considerations I spoke about. There are 28 standards. Yeah, 28 standards. I'll very quickly show you a standard here, 10. What does that mean? All of that, yeah. And what does standard 11 mean, and all of that. Like that, there are a lot of stuff here. And then you have ethical resources, assist line, insurance for coaches, Code of Ethics overview, Code of Ethics FAQ, complementary ethics course, which is free. It'll give you some 3 units and all of that. And then you have this is all education. Yeah, so all of that, I'm just ballpark, I'm telling you, if you look at your competencies, you just have, yeah, this is all you have, core competencies, done, okay, over. With this, you're done for core competencies, and that is your ACC, PCC, MCC. Your team coaching competencies, there's one thing. That's it. And ethics, there are huge amount of stuff, right? So I'm going to put, I'll show you a slide. I'm going on people who have registered for this. I'll just put all this into a slide and send it to you. That is one. And then this is your reciprocal website, Coaching Federation Law. And then this is the ICF website. We're partnered with Reciproc. And then you have a Reciproc coach. So these are places that you can go. I'll just share the links in the chat, or maybe I'll put it into a slide. And okay, very quickly, let me just do that. I'll just show this to you. 2 minutes, I'll just take you to the slides and just give a minute. So we spoke about, yeah. So importance of ethics. I'll put this, I'll convert this as a PDF document and share this. So code of ethics, the 4 pillars, what are the standards and all of that. And then, yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention, we have another masterclass on the 16th of September, demystifying ICS credentialing. I will share the link to register for that. So this is the link for the registration. And if you want to become part of the coaches circle, I'll send you this, put the link, and these are the links for your ICF reciprocal peer coaching and reciprocal coach. And this is all the links for the ICF ethics. I'm just going to convert all of this into a PDF and share it with you. All right. Okay. Now we can come back to questions.
Shrikant, yeah, but before we go to the questions, could you share that beautiful pictorial representation that you have where you show the umbrella competency?
So that is a copyrighted thing, but I can still show.
Just a quick glance.
So there are people
here
who are like, after me, they're going to kill me because I just keep sharing this free, like, I don't know, just give a minute. Just give a minute. I'm just okay, it's here. Yeah, so you're referring to this, I guess. Sorry. Okay. You're referring to this, Sunita?
Yes,
This is
the
one?
integration.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is what it is. Agreement, awareness, actions. This is the process. This is how the competencies are contributing. On one side, you have one competency. On the other side, you have another competency. And then for all of this to happen, you have another competency. And then you have this competency. And then your umbrella competence. This is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
This just pictorially showcases the grand importance of ethical practice for us. Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay, perfect. Okay, questions. We have like 30 minutes.
Over to you.
Thank you. All right. So I wanted to ask something on the basis of the call that I had today with the client. It was a coaching conversation. It was essentially a discovery call, but I wanted to sort of format my discovery call as a coaching conversation, essentially. So this was the first interaction I had with the client. It went wonderfully. The person had a lot of I could resonate a lot with that person. So in the coaching conversation, there were a lot of points where the person was directing the mic at me, and I was like, what do you think? And I held back to all of my advice really well. So I was happy about that. But towards the end of the conversation, as you said, the moment the coaching ended, and I was like, oh. So then I did not want to do that. But I also saw that the person who showed up, he had a lot of potential in the sense that in the sense of working together. So I wanted to explore if I could build something with him. He brought a lot of things to the table that I could sort of complement. So on that sense, I began to pursue a networking angle with that person. And it made me feel a little guilty, quite honestly, because I knew that this was a coaching setup. But I wanted to understand, since I know the kind of person I am, I know that I will find potential in networking. I will find potential in associations all the time, and I enjoy networking. So I guess my question is, how do you as a coach strike the balance between, or where do you like draw the boundaries in terms of not attempting or going crazy with networking with the people that you coach? Because all of these are great people. This person was like a well accomplished 32-year-old, and of course I saw value in that connection, in connecting with that person. So I don't know if this falls in ethics or competencies, but a broader coaching question, I guess.
Ethics, I keep it, draw the boundary lines and keep it separate. There are two different relationships. Keep it separate. Don't mix the other, one with the other.
So then attempting a networking sort of equation with that person doesn't mean that I'm compromising my coaching ethics.
What do you feel?
Based on your last response, which is so crisp, I feel not.
Your own ethics, how do you feel?
I don't feel that I don't feel like I don't feel like I'm violating any ethics. So cool.
You
Thank
got
you.
your answer. Okay. Yeah, Rashmi, go ahead.
Coach, I have two scenarios which I would like to maybe call out in this forum and
Sure.
want the thoughts around it. One is, and this is a real-time experience one person had, where when you are coaching somebody, of course, trust and everything is getting built up, and outside the coaching session also you connect with the person. Something like when coach is saying in an offline conversation that you are gullible and you can be easily manipulated. That sounds scary as a coachee. Next time, that coachee will not even open up, because during the coaching session, there are a lot of personal stuff get shared. My question is, when, first of all, as a coach, how you ensure you're not crossing the boundary and not in whatever faith you are sharing, but this is something will backfire at what time and how, you don't know. One. Two, as a coachee, when you hear this, how you can, what is the action you have which you can, your observation, you can call it out, let's say to a ICF body, or how you can address that? Because as a coachee, to me, it sounds really scary.
From a coach's point of view, they have to understand.
That's the first scenario I have. Yeah.
Yeah, the coach's point of view, they have to understand the relationship with the client is not only in the coaching session, right? It's a relationship. Okay. And what is when you are in a coaching conversation, what is being discussed should not come out of the coaching conversation, right? Even if it is between the coach and the coachee, because you said, I'm going to maintain confidentiality in that space. In that space. The moment it is over, you're not supposed to be talking about it. Right? So if let's say if there is some other topic that you spoke about, when you're in a coaching conversation, don't bring that what you spoke outside the coaching conversation into the coaching conversation. Then you're bringing your judgment, your bias, your baggage. The client has shared something with you, but it is still your baggage that you're carrying into the coaching conversation. So you're not supposed to do ethically wrong competency, coaching presence and all. If you feel that you are being offended by the coach, PCR. You need to provide evidence. Yeah, Ruxana, go ahead. I hope I have answered you, Ashu.
Yes, I got the clarity.
Yeah, okay, all right. Ruxana, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Shrikant. Apologize for not being on camera as usual. So my question is around coaching friends and family. I know it's more of a personal, maybe values, personal ethics kind of question, but what would your thoughts be around that?
Ideally, stay away because you got too much of information. Unconsciously, you may bring biases into the coaching conversation. That's the reason I don't coach my son. I have asked him to go find a coach and get coached. He pays for it. I don't care who he goes and gets coached as far as I don't coach him. Stay away.
Thank you.
Though ICF says you can draw contracts and this and that and all of that, end of the day, you're a human being. You're going to bring your bias. If you are an enlightened person who can stay away from attachments, I think you can, but otherwise don't. Yeah, there's a familiarity bias that comes into. Yeah, Prem, go ahead.
Yeah, so I had a peer coaching conversation with another coach. During the coaching conversation, it was about some of the organizational policies and etc. And he knows my background as a software engineer for 20 years. So instead of focusing on the coaching, he was predominantly asking, I've tried everything, nothing works out, what would you do? That was his mode of operandi. I tried to reflect the question back, but at one point he said, let's stop the coaching conversation, let's have a mentoring session. Like during halfway through. I was a little confused because I enrolled for a coaching conversation. Should we continue as a coach, or maybe this should be a separate conversation or not? I kind of stopped and did provide my suggestions, and then looks like his viewpoint and my viewpoint are different, and we had to stop at some point. So when these questions, these requests happens during the coaching conversation, what should I do? I mean, I didn't definitely stop the coaching conversation at that time, but it was a request from the coach. I don't know if I should honor or I should just say, yeah, looking forward.
Pause the conversation. That happened to me. There was a BP from an organization. We signed up for 6 sessions, company sponsored. 2 sessions went brilliant. Third session, the person wanted answers. I said, no, I don't have answers for your problems. Don't know your experience, this, that. I said, I'm experienced in my career, my life, my context, my situations. Yours may be different. So I don't want to give you answers.
But I had answers for him. So,
yeah.
But I had been in that situation. So I had experience and answers for him. When he asked, when I say I don't have answers, it's actually I'm lying to myself, right?
You're not lying. You don't have answers in his context. You have answers for similar experiences in your world. You don't have answers for similar experiences in his world.
I can understand that when it comes to personal things that we are talking about, but when it comes to organizational issues, like as a manager, he's managing a big team, he's trying to enforce the team to do something. These are like standard practices, right? So would that also not count as?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. I have one more question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
You said you should not give suggestions. I kind of agree. Earlier I used to, but recent times I've reduced. But I had another conversation with a coach, and there was a roller coaster of emotions, and figured out that a therapy would be helpful. And I did suggest after the conversation, also recommended a therapist that I knew, a good one. Is that count as a suggestion, or should I not say that?
That's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Perfectly fine, provided that you are able to reason out what made you feel that the individual needed therapy.
No, I mean, the client was convinced as well, even during the conversation.
Right. It should not be an act of you palming off your responsibility as a coach to somebody else. That is unethical. That's a violation.
Okay, I get that. No, it's not.
It should not be your agenda. It should be the client's benefit, whatever.
Okay. Thank you, Sri.
Yeah, Shripat.
Hi. This is one situation I faced during one of the peer coaching sessions. The coachee was evaluating or talking about multiple options related to the goal he or she was aiming for. And when talking about options, I felt coachee was kind of going in many directions. Like, oh, this is good in this, but that is bad. But this is not good, but this is not this. So I asked, okay, how would you order these parameters, attributes of any option? For example, if it is a job, would be location, salary, commute, this, that, that. So that is the time when I asked for a permission. That may I suggest an approach? That I was not giving a solution. I was just giving an approach, saying, okay, if I am evaluating some options on parameter on attribute A, B, C, D, E, F, I will do a paired comparison, wherein I will put them in the grid. I will compare each with each, give a score, arrive at a score. That is what we. So I just asked for a permission. May I suggest? And the coaching said yes, please. So I had a small write-up which I had created as my toolkit. I handed over to it. So in retrospect, when I was reviewing my session, I felt whether I stepped into the outside the ethical zone. What would be your take? Did I step onto the like the outside the ethical boundary, or
Yeah. So ICF doesn't tell you can't give suggestions. Okay. I personally don't. The reason is I don't want to take somebody else's monkey on my back. You gave a suggestion, the client took it and implemented it. It worked. Fantastic. It didn't work. Who will take responsibility?
according to me, the coachee?
But you suggested.
Yeah, not the solution, just the tool. Yeah.
So be careful. That's all I can say. ICF doesn't have a problem giving suggestions, but I have a big problem.
Prior permission.
So
yeah.
actually, the answer I gave is my son's answer. So he has this thing saying that, yeah, so I'll give you a suggestion. If it works, wonderful. If it doesn't work, who will take responsibility? I won't. That's what he says his clients. Yeah, Nirali, go ahead.
Thank you.
So, Shrikant, I was just wondering after listening to all these things that once you have a discovery call with a client, with a prospective client, and if the client is very clear that I'm happy to do coaching with you, but I would also require some mentoring. So, as per the ethical standards, you think it's a good idea that in the agreement itself you keep both the options in the written format there, like that it's going to be a mentoring and coaching session, and whenever you shift the hat from coach to mentor, you kind of call it out, or what would be the best
Two
solution?
different contracts.
Achha, two different contracts.
Two different contracts. No switching hats. So I have a client. I can't take the name. The person is there in this Zoom call. I can't take the name. I have a mentoring relationship. I have a coaching relationship, and we have two different contracts. And while coaching, I'm coaching. While mentoring, I'm mentoring. That's it.
And if situations come up where you see that this person needs mentoring, so then still you keep it at bay and then use it for that.
Yeah, I say we will take this up in a mentoring conversation.
Okay. Thank you. This is helpful. Thank you.
Shrikant, I have a question. So
Sure.
just as you were ending the sharing with Shripad, Nirali has sent a message here that suggestion can be given in the form of an anecdote, and the coachee will finally muse over it and decide for himself or herself. So around this, and also I've seen some of the coaches use metaphors and analogies in their coaching. So could you throw some light on how to go about it, and what are some of the best practices around that?
You can share your experience in a situation similar to what you're going through right now. I'm going to share an experience. See whether you can make any sense out of it. Whether you can draw some inference, insights. That is perfectly fine. Quote an anecdote. You can use a metaphor. In today's conversation, I was having a conversation with somebody, and so I said, hey, while you're sharing this with me, what I am sensing from what you're saying is that if you want to go far, you have to go slow. Right? So that's another quote. I mean, that happened in the moment. Yesterday, I put a quote in the coaches circle saying that if you want to take the client faster towards their awareness, you have to go slow, something like that. If you go slow, you will whatever. So same thing. I just use the same thing in a play. Light bulb moment for the client. Slow is fast. Yeah. Slow is fast. Everything is nothing.
Everything is nothing.
Presence is absence. Action is inaction.
We're having some vibe moments here.
Correct. Yeah, and Arjun is there. Arjun, I'm not going to spare you. You know it. You are going to do a session on metaphors. Yeah, Nirali, you raised your hand again? Or?
Yeah. So this is just a follow-up question to what you just said. So I mean, when any coach would say, in my experience, this is what the truth is, or this is what I'm aware of, then is it are we mixing mentoring and anecdotes?
No. I'm just telling a story. Are you? If you're not
Yeah,
comfortable saying that, no. If you're not comfortable,
no, I'm not talking about what you just said right now. But then generally, in a coaching session, whenever a situation arises and you see a red flag, so I mean, as a coach, I would say, so in my experience, this is what the truth is, or this is what is possible. So is it that I'm mixing mentoring with?
No, correct.
Yeah, am I?
What I'm saying is share your experience if the client is asking for it. Without asking, don't share your experience.
Yeah, only after being asked for.
Yeah,
Then
in my experience.
In my experience, then it's not mentoring.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see a very tactful play of words, that keep you safe from mixing coaching with mentoring, Shrikant.
Absolutely, yes. See, if you look at the skills are very similar, isn't it? You're active listening, you're asking questions, playing observations. Skills are very, very similar. The approach is different.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, but then, I read one of the articles from ICF itself, and a kind of a loud accusation was there is a lot of mentoring happening under the name of coaching.
Yes.
So then, like, see, we are using our skills of language and all these tactics where if the coachee is looking for something, we do use these tactics, and like in my experience, or using anecdotes, metaphor, and then there is mentoring happening, of course.
Yeah, right.
So is it unethical?
No. I'll just come to it. See, all that I'm saying is go back to the foundations. What is the foundation? The foundation, as a coach, you have to operate from a place of not knowing. Right? Not knowing what is happening in the client, not allowing your biases, your experiences coming in the way of they finding a new level of awareness for themselves. Right? Just like you're telling a story, you're telling your story. right? Your story can be inspiring, demotivating, I don't know. Let the client decide what they want to do with your story. You don't force the client to align with your story, you share a story. Yeah, we have 10 more minutes. Last 5 minutes, we have to do the pledge. So another 5 more minutes to go. Questions?
If no one has a question, then I have a question that
Sure, go
came
ahead.
up when someone's asked a question some time back. So when we are coaching, what are some of the best practices for addressing potential conflicts of interest between clients? So someone asked about family, friends, right? So Ruxana asked about coaching family, friends. So how do we like what are some of the best practices that we could follow apart from not wanting to engage with family and friends? But if there are conflicts of interest, maybe potential also between clients, then how do we handle that?
It's a very tricky question, right? So you will have to look at, would I be able to maintain a very tight, watertight or airtight or whatever you want to call it boundary, right? So if you're meeting this person often on an engagement other than a coaching client relationship, would you be able to keep the biases completely away while you're coaching? Whatever information that you have about the other person outside coaching, while you're not coaching, whatever information that you knew about this person while you were coaching. If you are 100% sure that you can maintain that watertight or airtight boundaries, you're okay. But humanly, is it possible? I don't know.
Depends on the coach's personality also to some extent. I once had this client of mine who said that I was a treasure box. While we both enjoyed the moment and we had a good laugh, what are some of the boundaries that coaches should maintain, especially when we're coaching a client for a long period of time and the relationship can kind of develop into a very close relationship?
It can happen in any profession, no, Sunita?
Yes.
So how is it different in a coaching relationship?
Just so that we are following the ethics. That's where I'm coming
You
from.
don't have to wait for ICF to tell you, hey, you have to follow this. There is a compass which you also have. Use that compass.
Okay. All right. Got it. Thank you. I don't have any further questions then.
Maybe one question from Rakesh and we'll get into the pledge. Rakesh, go ahead.
Yeah.
And any other questions people have, you can maybe put it in the chat box and then we will take it and answer those through an email or something like that. Yeah, go ahead.
So out of curiosity, I'm asking one thing. See, if you talk about peer coaching, so let's say somebody has done 100 hours, and let's say 100 hours are out of 100 clients. And there is a situation, somebody has done 100 hours out of 50. So there are two ways of looking. One way of the person who has coached 100 people, somebody will say, oh, wow, fantastic. But now somebody has done 100 hours through 15. So some way, real process had been done, because it is 4 or 5 sessions, which actually really. So I'm just trying to understand, is there any rules and regulation when evaluation is done, or it is okay? I mean, somebody has done 100 through 100. Or
ICF has got a very clear outline. ACC, 100 hours, minimum 8 clients, minimum.
Okay.
You can't have 1 or 2 clients coaching for 100 hours, minimum. Maximum, they don't have a limit. PCC, 25 clients, minimum, 500 hours. MCC, if I remember right, it's 35 clients, 2,500 hours. Right. To answer your question, which is better, coaching 100 clients 1 hour each and get 100 hours, or coaching 15 clients and accumulate 100 hours? You know the answer for yourself.
No, I know that, but I mean, just wanted to,
Okay, so we are ready to take the pledge. All right, so I'm just going to bring the pledge. Okay, so here's the pledge. What we are going to do is, I'm going to read, pause, and then you repeat after me. All right, so what we will do is we'll take the hand, right hand on the chest, on the heart, So I will read, pause, you will repeat. As an ICF professional,
As an ICF professional,
in accordance with the standards of the ICF Code of Ethics,
in accordance with the standards of the ICF Code of Ethics,
I acknowledge and agree to fulfill my ethical and legal.
I acknowledge and agree to fulfill
my ethical
and legal obligations.
My ethical and legal obligations to my coaching clients.
ethical and legal obligations to my coaching clients,
Sponsors, colleagues, and to the public at large.
sponsors, colleagues, and to the public at large.
If I breach any part of the ICF Code of Ethics,
If I breach any part of the ICF Code of Ethics,
I agree that ICF in its sole discretion may hold me accountable for so doing.
I
agree
that
that
ICF
ICF
in its sole discretion
may hold me accountable for so doing.
I further agree that my accountability to ICF
I further agree that my accountability to ICF
for any breach may include sanctions.
For any breach may include
Sanctions
such as mandatory additional coach training,
such as mandatory additional coach training,
or other education,
or other education,
or loss of my ICF membership,
or loss of
my
my
ICF
membership
and or my ICF credential.
and or my ICF credential.
So you have been baptized. All right, so we just have 1 minute. I'm glad I met a lot of people in this session and was able to share my experience. My experience is just tiny compared to what is there available on the. Yeah, you want to say something, Lakshmi?
If you take a photo.
Yeah, somebody please take a photo. My computer doesn't allow me to take photos.
Same. Yeah.
Hey, Arjun, take a photo, man. All of you, please give a wide smile. Done, Arjun?
Done. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll share it with Lakshan.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shrikant. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
See you on the other
Thank
side.
you.
Make use of
Thank
all the
you.
links that I sent. I'll convert this
Thank you
PPT
so much.
into a slide in PDF and email it to all those people who have registered along with the recording for the link.
Thank you so much, Shrikant.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot,
Thank you.
Shrikant.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.